Mike and Jessica, I tell you what, there's not only a lot of anticipation for this speech, but a lot of excitement. The Vice President set to speak to a room full of Republican supporters and leaders on a number of issues detailing the Trump administration's plans to potentially impact not only families across the country, but right here in Ohio as well. Just days after U.S. airstrikes targeted Iran's nuclear facilities, Vice President J.D. Vance back in Ohio, speaking to state Republicans in Lima. As the U.S. and the Trump administration are front and center on the world stage. Iran responded Monday with missile attacks on a U.S. airbase in Qatar. Officials say there were no casualties, but the base went into lockdown. Also on Monday, President Trump announced that Israel and Iran have agreed to a ceasefire after more than a week of aerial attacks. Vice President Vance in front of Ohio leaders as they and the nation watch. Vice President Vance's keynote speech also coming as the Trump administration deals with the ongoing fight over immigration enforcement, policies that have sparked protests across the country and here in central Ohio as well. On the cultural front, the vice president also recently warning that dating apps and artificial intelligence are harming real human relationships. All heady topics state Republicans are keeping tabs on. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of excitement around Lima today as this community gets set for the Vice President's speech. Tom Bosco is following that side of the story for us tonight. What do you say, Tom?
It's Rodney.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. Anyone else?
All right, thank you, Tom. And the president also making headlines today at the NATO summit in Europe. Of course, the Trump administration is trying to contain the violence and lead to some sort of peace in the Middle East. Atra El-Nashar has that story tonight from Washington, D.C.
I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.
And that brings us to the question of the day. Are you optimistic that the Israel-Iran ceasefire will hold? You can scan the QR code right there on your screen or simply head to our website to vote. Of course, this event just getting underway, a lot of excitement here. It almost has an election night feel. The vice president is expected to speak about 6:30 or 7 o'clock this evening. Of course, we will bring that to you live as soon as he hits the stage. For now, reporting live in Lima, Rodney Dunigan, ABC 6 News. Mike and Jessica, back to you. Vice President J.D. Vance was the headlining speaker here at the annual Republican State Dinner in Lima. It comes at a time when the Trump administration is making waves and headlines around the world. The vice president speaking on a number of vital issues impacting families, not only across the country, but in central Ohio as well.
The Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance.
Vice President J.D. Vance speaking to a room full of Ohio Republicans as the Trump administration works to address issues impacting families across the country and the world.
On Monday alone, the President of the United States, of course, we were trying to figure out what we were doing with the Israel-Iran situation. Of course, we had just launched the wildly successful attack that destroyed the Iranian nuclear facilities in Fordo and elsewhere. Thank you. But we know the Iranians are going to counterattack, and we're kind of trying to figure out, is it going to be a real counterattack, or is it going to be something more symbolic, more face-saving?
The recent airstrikes on Iran's nuclear program, top of mind for many in attendance. Iran responded with a missile strike on a U.S. base in Qatar. Not long after, President Trump announced that Israel and Iran have agreed to a ceasefire.
And what the president said going back 10 years, if you look at the campaign in 2015 and 2016, and he said it consistently through his second term, is that he does not want Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
Concern across the U.S. still high, something the vice president acknowledges.
The president often jokes with me, everybody in Iran calls the Iranian leader the supreme leader. That's a pretty amazing title if you think about it. But he looked at me in the Situation Room a few days ago and he said, Mr. Vice President, you don't have to call him the supreme leader, but you would if the guy had a nuclear weapon. Because the leverage that nuclear weapons give you to destabilize the world, to destroy our economic interests, to destroy our national security interests. You don't want the worst people in the world to have a nuclear weapon.
Immigration, something also on the minds of state Republicans. The Trump administration has expanded deportation operations, something that has drawn protests across the country and here in Ohio. Vance maintaining immigration will remain a focus of the administration.
And I'm happy to report that 1.5 months into the Trump administration, we had illegal border crossings down 99%. It was a radical success, and it happened very quickly. And I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that saved the United States of America.
In recent weeks, Vice President Vance has also made headlines regarding the issue of artificial intelligence and its impact on families. The VP stressing the importance of developing relationships and growing families.
We are trying to create the kind of country where the American dream is alive and well. We're off to a good start. Thank you for all you've done to help us. God bless you guys.
This visit from Vice President Vance was also important for the Trump administration as they try to rally the troops and maintain support ahead of those all-important midterm elections. Reporting from Lima, Rodney Dunigan, ABC 6 News. It's 6 o'clock and it is hot and more heat is on the way throughout the weekend. It's a perfect opportunity to head out to that splash pad at Bicentennial Park or any of the swimming pools around town this weekend. It's also another big weekend of events across the city of Columbus. The Buckeye Country Superfest is making its return to the shoe this weekend. Jelly Roll and Kane Brown are the headliners. The Columbus Clippers are in town hosting Indianapolis at Huntington Park. A pro tip for you tonight: if you try to get tickets on the first base side, you will not be directly in the sun. And crack that whip. Devo is in town tonight celebrating 50 years of their work. Thankfully, this show is indoors at Kimba Live. And of course, we're in for a long stretch of some very hot days, and temperatures will be in the 90s. And of course, Jennifer, you're saying that heat index, we're talking 100. All right, thank you, Jennifer. And you can track this weekend's temperatures with the Ohio Weather app. Jennifer and the team will be updating conditions throughout the day. It is free. Just search Ohio WX in your app store. And tonight, we're on your side asking questions about your summer safety. In just the last 2 weeks, Columbus teenagers have been involved in 2 shootings in public places, including near the city's swimming pools. Mike McCarthy looking into safety plans as the heat wave is set to arrive this weekend. Mike McCarthy on your side tonight. Thanks a lot, Mike. And we turn now to the unexpected side effects of taking weight loss drugs. More and more patients are reporting that their families are getting healthier as well. Roughly 20 million people here in the U.S. take a drug like Ozempic or Wegovy. Ads claim that you can lose 40 to 50 pounds. Good Morning America spoke with 2 women who've seen major results. One of them dropped 170 pounds in just the past 3 years.
We definitely don't order in like we used to. And I think I just am more mindful of making healthier recipes. He feels like he feels better because we don't order out as much.
And millions of Americans use these drugs, but there are millions more who can't get them because their insurance companies don't want to cover the cost unless you're diagnosed with diabetes. And of course, investigator Lisa Rantala looking into that side of the story tonight. And Lisa, of course, you're hearing that the state is dropping coverage for these drugs for most of state workers and a lot of folks on Medicaid as well. Developing tonight, an arrest in the case of an Ohio congressman who claims that he was run off the road by a man that he called deranged. Max Miller represents the west suburbs of Cleveland. In a tweet yesterday, he says that he was targeted by a man who showed him a Palestinian flag on his cell phone and yelled death to Israel. Miller is Jewish and describes himself as a staunch defender of Israel. Rocky River Police made that arrest of that suspect from Westlake. He was in court this afternoon. He faces a charge of aggravated menacing. If convicted, he faces up to 180 days in jail, a $1,000 fine, and up to 5 years of probation. And in other court news, it seems like the Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, doesn't really care about the speed limits. Now, you may have heard that he was given a ticket for going 91 on I-71 just about 2 weeks ago. Now, his summons to appear in court was this past Monday. Then on Tuesday, he was clocked on 71 going 101 miles per hour, 41 miles over the limit. Sanders is expected back in court for that ticket next Thursday. The Browns would only say that they've addressed the tickets with him.
All right, take a look at this. This video from 12 days ago in Pickaway County. Floodwater came in quick and did some major damage. Dozens of Circleville homes were flooded. One woman who actually rents says that she lost almost everything. Tonight, she wants to know who's responsible for that cleanup. Erin Simonek on your side with the story.
ABC6 News.
The Cleveland Browns and the city of Cleveland squaring off in court today. The city claims the team is in violation of the Modell law, which bans a team from leaving their home city without first trying to sell the team. The Browns say they're only trying to move to Brick Park, which is still in Cuyahoga County. Now, at the same time, the team has a case pending in federal court asking for the Modell law to be thrown out. The Modell law was named for Art Modell, the former owner of the Browns, who moved the team to Baltimore in the mid-90s. Well, tonight they are making some major news at the Columbus Zoo and some moves as well. After several years, a new project spanning 14 acres is ready to debut. The changes are expected to make the zoo a national destination. Jeremiah Wilcox gives us a look.
It's a fun day for Misty Huffman and her daughter, Elowin.
It is an absolutely beautiful day, and we are so excited.
She's one of the first to experience one of the two new major attractions, North American Trek at the Columbus Zoo and Conservation Tower at Zumbizi Bay.
So we've been members for probably the last 10 years, so we are here all the time.
It's more than a zoo. It's a hub for environmental conservation and education.
This is the largest reimagining that we've done at the zoo in nearly 10 years. So we're excited. This was a 4-year project. Over $35 million invested to create entirely new habitats for the animals, spaces for our staff to work, and experiences for our guests.
From black bears and bald eagles to river otters and Mexican wolves, North American Trek brings the wild beauty from across the world to life across 8 immersive acres for kids like Ava.
I saw the sea otters, the wolves, the eagles.
But there's one thing she could do without.
It's fun and also just really hot, but it gets cooler.
With the temperatures not letting up anytime soon, the zoo says there's a plan in place to keep all animals and visitors cool.
All of our buildings are conditioned, so we have both heat and air conditioning in all of them. When we hit certain temperatures, we'll be able to provide them with the option to come inside if they choose. All of our areas have misters, so we can provide misters for both animals and people.
You can also make a splash with purpose. Zumbizi Bay Conservation Tower helps support the zoo's mission. These thrilling slides deliver high-energy fun while spotlighting the zoo's conservation efforts. A fun way for people to be empowered to help out wildlife.
There's so much to do. You can spend the whole day. There's something for everyone.
On your side, I'm Jeremiah Wilcox.
All right, turning back to the forecast, meteorologist Jennifer Herbert tracking things for us tonight. And for those folks who want to go out to Zumbizi Bay and the zoo this weekend, it will certainly be